Oh, I forgot what the fuck I'm doing here. I forgot what all the buttons do. I take one day off and I don't know what's going on. Boy, this is going to be a spotty month, everybody. I'm just keeping it a bean. One thing you can count on me is that I'm going to keep it real. Yeah, I'm all over the place, man. This is going to be a crazy month because we're getting ready for this Rock Fest thing, you know? And I'm going to keep it real. Like, I've never done it before. Not, these guys have been doing it for 30 years, you know what I mean? I have not been throwing festivals for 30 years. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. There's a little rumor about me online. Some people misunderstand me sometimes as a fucking know-it-all. But here we go. Here's the fine print. And this might disappoint some of you. I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just like all of you. So whatever rumors there are about me, I read the articles off the internet, and I share them with you here on the live stream. But contrary to popular belief, I don't think that I know anything. I don't think that I'm an expert. And one thing I don't know about is big festivals. I don't know a damn thing about it. I've been in a local band my whole life. So, and I mean local, like if we got the gas money, we'll drive outside of our local area and go play somewhere. But I know like some local bands, they like to christen themselves with the category of being national. I think like a lot of the smaller bands that buy on and play the big festivals, to them that's an image or a sign that they're a national band. I don't feel like that for me. No, I feel like a small-ass local band, fish out of water, going to a big festival, and we don't know what the hell we're doing. That's the truth. That's a lot more like it. I know that there are a lot of smaller bands like us that play the large festivals, and they would like to categorize themselves or define themselves as a national act because they've had the opportunity, to buy on, or they had the opportunity to play alongside, national acts that have been touring for years. I don't think that's in the same category, I just look at it as an opportunity that I'm really grateful for. And I don't know shit about. So you got to forgive me because I don't know what the next schedule, the consistency of the scheduling for the next month for live streams and podcasting is crazy. So like we won't do the Honeycomb Hideout next week because Zach is in transition doing some things with his employment and his life. So he won't be available next week on the Honeycomb Hideout. And I couldn't do William versus the World yesterday. And I truthfully, I was late today because I was sleeping. I was like, I'm never sleeping and I never get tired. But today I was. I'm probably 300 days out of the year. I'm up early in the morning, early. But I don't know what it was. I don't know. I didn't hear any alarms or anything. So it's just going to be different. It's going to be different for the next, probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks, because we're getting ready for this whole Rock Fest experience. And because, as I admitted before, I don't know what I'm doing, we're trying to take it very serious. We've been hyper focused on making sure that hospitality and food and all of our plan Bs, our boxes are checked, so to speak. That's the kind of stuff that we've been doing. So we have the logistical hey, let's 10 of us travel to Rockfest and play this enormous festival, even though we've never done it before. We want to make sure we have everything that we need. So it might, I don't know. We don't know if it's overkill or not. But this is why some of the live streams might be later than usual. Sometimes we might have to cancel them between this live stream and the Honeycomb Hideout. Yo, what's up, Trish? What's going on? So that's why it's been difficult to try to make it on time. It's not like it's just Rockfest, but it's like the things that we're trying to do, preparing for Rockfest, while trying to also balance our lives in a healthy way. It makes it difficult to do a lot of the live streams or stuff on the internet. That's what it is. So as far as myself and the others being able to come on the internet or stream predictably and consistently, it might be a little bit spotty for a little while, everybody. It might be a little. Like, share, and comment, 10 stars. That'll help the band. He's right. Hey, thanks, Tiger. That's real. It does help. That really helps. Believe it or not, that's been like one of, like, the live streams have really been a huge engine helping Sepsis get to all the places that we've wanted to be. Like, you guys have been massive in helping us do that. I would say that our live streaming events, I feel like they are a massive department of what we do. Without live streaming, there really wouldn't be like Sepsis as we know it. We are one of those live streaming, gaming, blogging, vlogging. It's all Lexi's fault, really. Like when she joined the band, she was like into all types of like vloggers and YouTubers, and we all learned about that stuff, a lot of it, like through her interest. We really didn't care much for it, but once we had Facebook Live, the band just started going live. So it's been a major part of our department ever since. That's it. So it might be difficult for us to do that predictably this month because we're all getting ready for this whole Rockfest experience. I mean, we're trying not to screw that up. And then, of course, we have like regular life. You don't want to screw that up. So that's what we're doing. Trisha, thank you for being here. I tried to switch it up a little bit today because to be real with you guys, Scott, how you doing? Good morning. I've been trying to switch up some of the articles because to be real with you, it's like I know that I promised to look up the top stories in the music industry news every day, but at this very time, the only thing that's in the music industry news is straight Spotify and AI, and I have to do something different today. We can get back to it. That is the commitment. I'm not breaking stride. That is the commitment. I don't care how ugly it gets. I'm going to definitely gather and collect the top stories as a priority in the music industry first. So the priority of this live stream, unlike the Honeycomb Hideout, I feel like that's like a friendship table or something. That's Lexi's gig now. This show I have committed to covering the music industry news, no matter how ugly or annoying or repetitive or redundant it gets. But today, I'm not doing it. Today is the day I'm not going to sync into Spotify in AI. We do have AI news, and of course we have Spotify news, but what I'm trying to say is this particular day I have chosen some other twists and turns. We're not going to be spending a lot of time on the top music industry stories today because They've been the top stories for the last week, and we all need a breather. Or at least I do. Scott says, getting ready for a big gig like this, it's a challenge. You want to make sure everything is on point for an amazing show like Rockfest. Thank you, Scott. Basically, Scott just said what I wanted to just say simply and easily earlier. We are, I will say, something you got to know about us is when all the pieces work with our band, there's so much variety and diversity and responsibility in each department of the performance package of this band. Everyone has their own little responsibility, but we are very much a team sport on stage. So from the audience members and the people that know the songs, hear me out. From the audience members and the people that know our music, to our merch girl, to our staff members, to the people running the lights, the sound guy, from everybody involved. When our band is doing everything right and everyone's practicing and everyone is focused on their department, Sepsis sounds amazing on stage, and we put on a very high energy. I know that feels generic, but seriously, we put out a very physical, interactive performance, and it is truly unique and unlike no other. However, when the individuals or departments in our band are not ready and they're not oiled up or they're not tuned in, if you remove or loosen a block or two within the structure, it falls down like fucking Jenga. That's the thing you got to know about watching us on stage. If you've heard our music online or you've listened to some of our recordings, if you've listened intently over some time, you might wonder, wait a minute, how do they do that? I wonder how they pull that off live, right? And if you listen to our music intently, you'll notice that there's some twists and turns and changes and maybe some unpredictable things that aren't super metal or really predictable or safe. So you might wonder, how are we going to pull that off? How are we going to make something like that sound good live? People might wonder to themselves, okay, this stuff sounds decent in a recording, but can William and Melissa really do that live? Does it really sound like that? Does it look like that? When you see the videos, you go, yeah, but can they do that live? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Our live shows, if you've ever seen us live, all the throwing the guitars around and twisting around and jumping and yelling and screaming and blending and harmonies and all of that and dancing, it all happens. Okay? But all the departments have to work really well together. Our guitar players have to practice with the drummers. The vocalists, we have to practice separately sometimes. We have to have dry practices, wet practices, clean practices. We have to have full band practices. We do techs, we do rehearsals. This is the stuff that we're doing all the time that nobody ever sees. We do, we're not like in sync or anything, but we do have things happen on stage, like sometimes things pop or blow or explode or fly around, or we do a certain dance move, and we're always updating these things and changing these things as they emerge. Uh-oh. Oh. Try not to sneeze. Bless me. I better not sneeze. I feel there's like pollen everywhere. It's on the back deck. There's flowers all over the car. Seriously. I'm trying not to do it. Every day that I've come on here, because it's spring, every day that I've come on here in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to sneeze online and blow the microphone off the table. They're trying. Hold on, I gotta get some coffee. I mean, so, like, you guys are the ones that watch this program, and I really appreciate it, because most people wouldn't give a shit. But the few of you that watch this program, at the end of the day, there usually is, like, somewhere between 300 and 1,000 plays by the end of the night. And I look at that as, like, okay, out of percentage of that 1,000 plays a night, when I go look, about 1 to 10% of them actually watch the whole program. You know what I mean? Or or a segment. So I don't know. Let me run that back so you guys can understand it. When I'm done with this live stream on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, or whatever, I go to our weakest platform, and I also go to our home base, our strongest platform, which would be like right here on Facebook. And I look at how many people have watched William versus the World that day. And on average, so far, it's been growing, so it's hard to tell, you know? When we first started off, it was only a couple hundred. But now, we're at our, 51st episode or something like that? 51. So, since we started this live stream together, John, Hans, Trish, Scott, you guys are really the people that have been like coming on and talking with me and helping keeping the conversation going, while the most people that see this program, they're not interested in talking with me or commenting or conversating. They have their own reasons for being here. You know what I mean? So it's really because of you guys why I keep coming every day, because I need help being able to talk about shit. So I need to ask you guys a question. Do you guys like when I come on here and just be a person as an introduction? Or do you think, do you like when I come on and just, because I come on here and I just am. I start the stream and I'm just me. I don't dress up anything. I don't put on any makeup. You know what I mean? I come on, and so whatever comes out, whatever energy, whatever emotion, whatever's really going on inside my biodiversity, whatever's really electric in me, whatever, if I'm terrified, if I'm scared, if I'm anxious, if I'm happy, if I'm optimistic, whoever I am each day, that's the person that I introduce myself to you on the screen, and then I update you with what's going on in my head and my heart and my soul, and I just put it here and we just talk about it. And sometimes I've noticed there has been times when that winds up just being the show, and then we get to a couple articles. Do you like that format, or do you think it would be better if I just jumped on and jumped right into news? Like, this is opinion. There's no wrong answer to this, because ultimately, like, you guys are the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys, this is a conversationalist show. It's not just me telling everybody the way the world is. I can't stand that. This is for us to challenge. This is for me to challenge myself. This is for us to challenge each other, not insult or try to be experts or one-up each other or nothing like that. This is for us to do something together, where if there's something that we don't agree on or something we don't understand, We stop and we go, well, let's research it then. What the fuck is preventing us from all whipping out our phones and jumping on the internet together? You know, not insulting each other or tearing each other down or trying to repurpose each other's value, and debate about images of success. Let's look together. The purpose of this program is for all of us to kind of have a safe place, mostly a transparent place where people can look at the articles on the screen or the conversation, and we don't have any timer. There's no clock. There's nothing that says we have to get off at a certain time. We don't have to stop talking about a certain subject. If we want to talk about Spotify every single day, that's up to us. Like, I think one time Scott had to save us and was like, all right, well, you could take a breather on Marilyn Manson. And I was like, okay. But see, I could deal with it because the reason why I could move through that and grow from that is because I was like, all right, Scott understands what I'm saying. You know what I mean? He understands. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like there was somebody that, regardless of where their opinions were on the spectrum, there was comprehension, and and we could move forward, and everyone could have an opinion or a feeling about it, but we felt like we went over the available knowledge. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. I don't want to leave anything out. So Scott says, I dig it when you are you, no bullshit, blunt honesty, truth. That's the way I like it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know, because this is the reason why I ask. Me and Melissa are very driven people. So that's why it's hard for us to have a lot of friends personally in real life, because a lot of times people in real life, I'm sure, Scott, you can understand, that driven people often become misunderstood, so that's why I don't have a lot of free time or space in my personal life, because I don't want to annoy people with the details. You know what I mean? Like, I know my friends and family don't want to hear about guitar string gauges. I know that they don't want to hear about, what's going on in CSAC and, Chat GPT. Some of my closest, friends and relatives and people that really care about me, I know they don't want to sit down and talk about sepsis all day. And for some people that are in bands, I know that it's their weekend hobby. Some people in their bands, it's the biggest thing they've ever done in their life, and they're really committed to it, and they're in the mob, they're in the gang, they're in the army, they're very much they play a huge role in their band. There's some people that are artists and musicians that they are absolutely sure that that's their dream and that's their, but for me and Melissa, it's not just a hobby. It's not even just a dream. For me and Melissa, sepsis is our life. Music is our life. You know what I mean? Where there's some musicians that are kind of nervous and they peek around the corner and they're kind of reluctant and they're nervous to admit that they're musicians, and they're kind of they're a little mousy about proclaiming that they're taking on this challenge for the rest of their lives. When you ask musicians, hey, are you a musician? Are you taking this on for the rest of your life? A lot of musicians have a hard time answering that question. People get nervous around that question. There's a lot of musicians that don't know how to answer that. As there are a handful of artists that, when they're asked if they're going to be musicians for the rest of their lives, it depends on if they make it, and it depends on if someone else enters their life and authenticates them. Being a musician for some people means someone else, a complete stranger, coming into their lives and validating them. For me and Melissa, it's quite the opposite. We're not waiting in line for somebody to authenticate us. or knight us. We're not waiting in line for an organization or for a religious community, or with all due respect, we didn't wait for our parents or our loved ones. We didn't wait for other people or strangers to come into our lives to set the dial of how driven we could be. There's not an industry that sets that standard for us. There are no glass ceilings for us. So myself and Melissa, sometimes we can be misunderstood, and people sometimes won't like our personalities because of how driven we are. And the most driven people in the world often get looked at like villains, or self-centered or narcissistic, or I know all these words get thrown around a little bit too easily these days, but what I think a more accurate word would be driven and committed. And sometimes the most driven and committed people, absolutely, and some, for lack of a better English word, selfish. We talk about our dream, and we talk about music, and we talk about our life like it's our life. Like if we lived on a farm and your friends were farmers and you went to go visit them, they'd be talking about horses and cows and pigs and farms and crops and, and seasons and everything that every time that you visit your farmer friends, they would be giving you stories about the farm, because they don't just, it's not just a job to them. They live on the farm. They are the farm. They are the animals on the farm, and there are a lot of musicians who have a hard time, they'll introduce themselves as, hi, I'm Stacy the painter, and I also do a little music. I'm Daryl. I do accounting, and on the side I play in a cool rock and roll band on the weekend. Me and Melissa don't play Sepsis on the weekend. Me and Melissa, we're not playing rock and roll. We're not playing musician. We're not role-playing band. This is something that we do every day. I'll give you another one. This isn't something we just started to do. So that's why I asked you guys that question, because I know that the most driven people in the world are the easiest people to get misunderstood, especially, when they're not observable each day, when you can't observe the things that we do when the camera goes off. I mean, let's face it, the only thing that anybody ever hears from us, the only thing that anybody ever knows about me or from me is when I broadcast it. If it's not broadcasted, if it's not taking a picture, if there's not an image of it, we don't know if it's real. Right? Anything anybody tells you, anything you've ever heard, anything, the only thing that we really know about William is when William turns the camera on. So it means I'm responsible for all the output that I have here. And that's why I ask you guys, do you want to start the program with me, or do you want to start the program with the world? Because it's William versus the world, motherfuckers. So I usually start this live stream off with me, because it's William versus the world. So I that's why I feel like it's natural to peel off a couple of real authentic fibers. I think it's important to stitch in, a thread of who I really am. Even though that the camera's on, and even though we're here for entertainment, and even though we're having a good time and we're partying, I feel like it's important to stitch in an authentic thread of William, so you guys have a better understanding sometimes when I come up with the stupid shit that I say, or sometimes when I make mistakes, or sometimes when I'm spot on. At least you guys can know that I'm a real human being, and then I'm a flawed human being, but I'm authentic. And that's why I asked you guys that, because that's what I set out to achieve. It's useless if we can't talk about this information in an authentic way. I want the highest quality of justice. I want the highest quality of English. I want the highest quality of friendship that we can have when I do this live stream. That way, when we go over these, when we take on the world together, we can take it on and we can look at each other seriously at the highest quality and highest respect. I don't give a fuck what all the other 1,000 viewers, if they're entertained. If at the end of the day, there's 500 people that view the live, I'm very grateful for that. But you guys in the chat, you guys that come and visit me every morning, I really appreciate you because you're really helping to reshape and energize what we're going to do with this in the future. And believe it or not, this has been a tremendous help. Doing the live streams and doing the Honeycomb Hideout has been for Sepsis because we're also streamers and social media marketers and advertisers. We're not just a band. You guys have absolutely helped us just from the little bit of stars. Like, you guys have kept us getting guitar strings and helped us out having an extra cup of coffee on the way to band practice. It's hard to believe, but just having these little live streams, it's helped us really make a more comfortable road trying to prepare for Rockfest and trying to get this all together, having every little battery and and it's not just like with stars or donations, but just being able to be myself and talk with you guys each day, and you guys to be able to give me authentic feedback and keeping that high quality conversationalists here. And I appreciate you. It's amazing that when you put that energy out there, it's like a magnet. When you put authenticity out, you get it back, and that's not always cookies and cream, but I think all of us here can handle it. I appreciate you guys for being honest. John says, I get asked if I'm a musician just because of how I look. Oh, that's dope. Yo, image is a big thing, man. What are you talking about? That's big. Zach tells me all the time that we should look more like musicians all the time. People will ask John, quote, are you in a band? Because you look like you're in a band. My reply is always yes. Let's give John some music on that. Right on, man. So that's something we used to do a lot when we first started Sepsis. Melissa was big on that. We were a lot younger, We started Sepsis in our 20s, man. Shit feels ancient. But because we started it then, we had a little bit more free time, is all I'm saying. I don't know if we really had free time, but we took free time, if you know what I mean. So back then, when Melissa was big on that, we were trying to figure out what we looked like, and she was big on that, staying in wardrobe all the time. Melissa was in wardrobe all the time. It really helped us out. So in the beginning, Melissa had a whole different look. Her hair was aqua green, and she had all these. It's crazy. I should break out some pictures. You guys will love it. But the whole Sepsis thing looked and sounded really different long ago. Yeah, John, I'm gonna start. I would love to dress in. So basically, the moral of the story is, I would love to dress in wardrobe every day. It's too fucking hot, and when you're getting older and shit, you don't want to be squeezed. I'm lucky enough not to be fucking fat, but I put on what I'm saying is, when I was 30 years old, I could put a pair of leather pants on, in 60-degree weather, and I'd be just fine. I put a pair of leather pants on for an hour right now, and I'm gonna be mad as shit. The way I dress now on stage, I'm trying to find. I'm always looking for comfortable. Yeah, I think when you're in your 20s, you're trying to be sexy. You know what I mean? I wasn't. Yeah, now, motherfucker, I'm in my 40s. I'm trying to look for something stretchy. You feel me? I'm the oldest guy in the band. I'm looking at these motherfuckers and I'm like jumping up and down and I'm like, I hope you motherfuckers like this shit because you guys better once you guys catch up to me, you're gonna feel it. I'm lucky. I'm still bouncy and dancy on stage, and I'm telling you, I owe it all to Melissa and sobriety. I don't drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes or nothing like that. That shit will fuck your whole performance up. I don't even like smoking weed before I get on stage. I hate it. Hans says, when I had crude oil, yeah, I played for 3 years, but I knew in my heart I was meant for other things in life to do. Singing, you misplayed. Well, Hans, you can still, just because you're not in a band, it's not stopping you from singing or playing guitar. You can still sing and play guitar without having to be in a band or without going broke or having, you don't have to spend all your money trying to drive to, Methuen. Scott says, as a musician and lover of all music, music has been flowing through my veins and blood. I feel that totally, dude. It has made me who I am today. It has guided me through life, through the good, bad, and the ugly. If I didn't have music, I don't know who or what I would be today. If you can, Hans, pin Scott's comment. Hey, Scott, you know what, man? We might have to put you into the new category, Scott. Scott has been around for a while. I feel like we got to give Scott the sword, man. Scott might get the sword, man, so give him the power. John says, I've also wanted to be a part of a band most of my life. I totally understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't know who the fuck I am if I didn't do what I do every day. Look, man, John, me and Melissa were sitting here the other day, right? And I was like, I don't think she thinks about it often, but I'm like, Melissa, you're still really young. You look great and you sound really good. Melissa continues to sound better and better. The more she continues to take risks, she continues to grow her voice. She just continues to grow as a person. Just as a person, I love her as a best friend and as a colleague. She's really one of the most driven and misunderstood, beautiful people I've ever met as a human being. And she continued that her biggest power is her ability and continue to grow and let the bullshit just roll off her, man. But yeah, we were sitting down and I said to her, I was like, you've been in sepsis since you were 17 years old. There's like two versions of sepsis. There's like sepsis, like when we were like just being a band as young people, and then there's like the professional version, 2020 and on. We never recorded any music. We never had any like demos or music videos, or we never had a professional. We never tried to get a professional lineup until 2021. Basically when we came out of the lockdowns, we tried to put together a group of people. And that was our first group of people that we tried to, start touring and doing stuff with it. And they didn't make it. But 2020 was the first record we ever released. So we're about to release new music again from our second record. This will be August will be 4 years since we released any music as a professional band. But we've been in the band for years and years and years. So I said to Melissa, you've been in the band since you were 17 years old, dude. And she was like, I was like, what would you do if you weren't in sepsis? Like, I was like, it's like your whole life. I was like who would you be? Like what? And she just looked at me and she was like, I don't know. She was like, I don't know who I would be. She was like, if I wasn't Melissa Wolf and Sepsis, I don't know what I would do. I was like, have you ever considered like what it would be like not being in the band? Like, have you ever thought about? I said, you've been in the band for so long. You've been in the community. You know, think of all the different like friends and celebrities and charities we've done and people we've helped and awards and TV shows. And I said, think about all the sponsors and all the just think of all you've done and just think about where you're going. And then I go, what would it be like what would you do? Could you imagine yourself being someone else? And she was like, no. She was like, I don't. And she's like, and furthermore, I don't even know how to stop it. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so like this will kind of be fun. You can stand right here. So I was just telling them about this story. I started rambling. I haven't done one bit of news today. So you've been in the band your whole life.
Yeah.
You've been Sepsis your whole life.
Yeah.
Have you like? Why are you smiling like
I
that?
don't know what you're about to ask me.
I'm saying. Is it possible? Like you've been Melissa Wolf with the blue hair, with the tail. Think about all the different looks, all the different songs you've done, all the unreleased songs that we've done, all the stages, all the charities, all the awards, all the donations, all the TV shows, all the celebrities you've met, all your friends, everything we've ever been through, all the ups, all the downs. Like, can you imagine yourself not being Melissa Wolf?
No.
Like even from here on out, like here you are at this part of your life. You're still very young. I was explaining to everybody that I think your voice has not only gotten better, but I think it's getting better all the time. But you don't got a gray hair, but and even when you do, I think you'll be rocking stages and I think you'll be beautiful. But what I'm saying is, it's not the point. What I'm saying is, can you ever imagine an end to Sepsis as it is right now?
I cannot.
Like, you can't. Is it?
It would be weird.
Would it be weird?
It would probably end my life.
What? Did you hear what she just said?
Like, no joke. Like, I don't know what I would be without music.
That's exactly that. Now I want to show you what John just said. So John Millette said, he goes, I've wanted to be a band most of my life. I wouldn't know who the fuck I am if I didn't do what I do every day. After the Winter said, oh, no, that was Scott, sorry.
Everyone's got to have a purpose, you know?
Yo, that's crazy, right? Everyone's got to have, that's what I'm saying. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I in order to tell the full truth of the story, I was explaining to them, like, how when I posed the question to you and I was like,
That's how you know, like, I'll never stop doing this because...
that's how you know Melissa ain't never, come on, can you explain that? Oh, because they can't hear you. That's how you know what?
That's how you know I'll never stop doing what I do because I know nothing else. Sorry.
That right. That's like, I mean, this is something that you started doing when you were forming your identity, when your brain was developing. There's no world that you can remember where there wasn't that big red star with that dragon in it.
It's very different. That's a different life.
You know what I mean? There's never been a moment like those songs are a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do about that?
That's my story.
So does that depress you? Do you feel trapped?
No,
You don't?
I feel like I have a purpose, like I said.
Like a lot of bands are on their 6th, 7th, 8th album. Like local bands, regional bands, and some celebrity bands too. Because you can't ever see yourself doing anything else, what do you see happening with the music?
It's only gonna get better.
Do you see it? Do you think we're gonna sound the same, or do you think it's gonna go like that?
Sound like Sepsis, for sure.
Interesting.
Well, the cool thing about Sepsis is it's always changing.
I know we are kind of wobbly.
Whatever we want it to be, really.
Right. I think there's some bands out there that I think if they do a certain kind of genre, if they made a certain kind of noise, they get made fun of. I think we can make whatever kind of beep, boop,
I think our
scrape,
fans will be cool with it, no
bing,
matter
bang, boom.
what.
You know what I mean? Some bands can't go boop, boop. They'll be like, oh, you're not this enough or that enough. Some bands can't go scrape, scrape because they go, oh, that's too shaky.
Every song is different with us.
Yeah, wait till y'all see. Wait till you guys see the next music that's coming out. There's Jersey beats in there. There's African beats in it. There's Latin music. All of our newest music has all kind of like world elements, but it's rock. It's metal. You just yeah. Yeah, right after Rockfest. And the reason why we're releasing music after Rockfest is because we're poor. Like, we probably would have released music, like, now. Like if we weren't going to Rockfest, we would have new music out right now. But the reason why we don't have new music right now is because we're buying, we have music done. It's done. Our producer's excited. Yeah. We're excited. I'm gonna read a couple of these comments. I didn't do no news today because I asked everybody, like, should I start the programs with a talk? Because it's William versus the world. So do I start with the world, or do I start with William? You feel what I'm saying? This is the only place online where you can talk to me personally, where I'm not entertaining. Like, this is an entertainment show, but this is really me. I'm not. This isn't an act or something. I'm not. This is how I really talk and have coffee with people. So I'm like, should I take that? I asked everybody, should I take that element out and just stick to it? Because the problem is, when I put myself into it, I might talk for the whole fucking time. Because that's really me. See, it's a dilemma. That's the problem. Thank you, Melissa. Son of a bitch. So yeah, Melissa's trapped in the musician's reality. I'd say that's great, because that's what she wants to do. I can't imagine not playing guitar. I play guitar with my feet. If they cut my arms off, I don't even care. I play piano with my nose. I would. I'd beatbox. Yep. If nothing else, if I was just the head. Yeah, we're in there. Let's go. There's no stopping. I'll blink. I'll start blinking beats. I'll hum. We'll whistle you to death. Yo, hobbies and puppets. Hey. Yeah, no, I'm blazing glaze. I can feel it. Thank you. After the winter, I miss you guys, man. I can't wait to get to rock with you guys, man. There's not a lot of bands that I really, 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 really like their music, but you guys are one of them. I love y'all music. Honesty is the best. Thank you, Trisha. I appreciate that coming from you. Scott says we are all humans with emotions and feelings. It's what makes each and every one of us here. It's funny, Scott. I have been fighting that my whole life, and I'm done doing that. I'm a person. I'm a flawed person. It's okay. I've learned that I have to accept myself a little bit, here and there. If other people are gonna accept me, and I'm gonna accept other people, I gotta learn to accept myself a little bit more here and there. So I'm working on that. Steve Jordan, when you wake up in the morning and you have your cig or your coffee or whatever, and you get on here, keep in mind you are doing what makes you happy, and make yourself connected with people in the show, that you are someone who is human like the rest of us. Oh, that's really well written. No, thank you for contributing, man. Yeah, some of you guys that are new, I hope to see you here again. As I was trying to explain before, I do this weekdays at 10:30, but this last month or two, and I think the next few weeks, reluctantly, you guys, I think that it's going to be difficult for us to do because we're getting ready for this big festival in Wisconsin, and I've never done it before, so I don't want to look like a fool over there. You know what I mean? I don't want to go in there falling over myself. So we've been really trying hard to prepare for the performance part of it, but then like the hospitality and safety part. Getting reservations and flights and carry-ons and like how we're moving equipment and gear, right? And then like we have to remind ourselves to eat something. Then it's like if we want to try to make any money, we got to bring some merch, right? So we've invested, a lot of our money check to check. We're just regular, middle class type people. So we, because we love music, I might not buy a pair of shoes every year, because the thing is like we put all of our money into music. Programs and, the latest microphones, and you guys would be surprised just how much it is to have subscriptions to publishers and websites, and, it's a lot of money. It's thousands of dollars every year just to have a real band, I think just our website, sepsis.com, our website is hundreds of dollars. And the more popular the website is, the more expensive it is. It's not like you just have a website. Our website's registered. You have to have a domain names and a register. It's crazy. It's got to connect to your business, and it's a lot. You got to do taxes and all of that. That's just to really release music authentically, actually, and like do like online e-commerce. And anyways, it's a lot. So getting ready for Rockfest has been tricky, because the truth is we have more music, and we have a second album coming out. So what we would really be doing right now, what we want to do, because we're musicians, is we want to release some music. But I don't think we're going to be releasing music the same way that we've been releasing music for the last 4 years. I think it's all going to change this year. In our record contract, we have a record deal. So with our original material, the first record we ever wrote was like signed almost immediately, like foolishly, like most artists do. We saw big names and celebrities attached to everything, and we just jumped into it, and we signed to a record label, and then really paid the price. So our record contracts are up next year, and it's going to really change. We're going to get a lot of our catalog back. So when we re-release when we re-release parts of that catalog, we're developing a plan and strategy that we'll share with everybody. So if other artists want to try it, they can as well. Yeah. Maybe a William hat and then a newsman hat. Yo, I love that idea. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. I love that. You've got good ideas, Trisha. Our previous drummer called me Doom Metal Jesus. It kind of stuck. That's funny. Shit, that's funny. Hans says, I'm always in lightweight clothing. Right. And when you become 40 years old, you'll be in lightweight clothing. How about that? Lot artists play clean, then hit our joint after the show. Yo, I'm telling you, I can't smoke weed on stage anymore. Fuck that. Especially like if I want to sing and do lyrics. Like, if I'm gonna if I smoke weed and just play guitar and shut the fuck up and let Melissa sing and I stay out the way, that's great. But if I'm not a great singer like that. So if I'm gonna really be taken serious and be supportive and helpful in this whole thing, then I'm gonna need to be fucking sober. I cannot smoke weed and then try to aggressively. Actually, it's both, because sometimes I have to sing like emotionally or like sweetly, right? And then I have to scream like an animal. And like when you smoke weed, it doesn't go together. Like the whole thing, like I'm like paranoid. The music's loud. My music's loud. It's confusing and complicated. A lot of metal bands today, they tune their guitars to fucking H. So you don't really hear a tune, you know. It's everything kind of just sounds like. A lot of bands just tune to the lowest possible denominator. But when you have a clean singer, Melissa's a tenor. She's a female tenor, and she's a clean singer. So when you have a clean singer, when you have a band that's a clean singer, you have to have tunings that naturally embellish and blend nicely with the person's voice. You feel what I'm saying? Like we have to have tunings. We have to choose keys of the songs that blend nicely with the singer. So as a result, we can't really tune to because so what it means is we have to tune to guitar tunings and they have to be in tune. Our guitar tunings have to be in tune. If they're not in tune, then they're going to phase and the band could sound awfully terrible. So we have to be really careful of that. We have to be very, very careful of that. So when when we smoke weed or people smoke weed on stage and the music is loud and the guitars have to be in tuned, because the thing is like, you know, Melissa can be pitch perfect, but if one of our guitar players are out of tune, you know, it might give the impression that the singers don't know what the fuck they're doing. So if my guitar's out of tune or if somebody's guitar is out of tune and I'm singing, oh my God, like, oh my goodness, like the last thing I want to do is try to sing while somebody's out of tune, because it's really going to screw Melissa up. I'm better off just shutting the fuck up. So this is why I will not smoke any fucking weed on stage, because I need to know. I absolutely have to have confidence that the instruments are in tune. Because our guitars are still tuned to guitar. Vocalists are similar to fairy tale writers. Oh, that's real, brother. Holy shit. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, that's true. You guys as vocalists, you guys are more like, I feel like rock and roll or metal vocalists are like narrators. And it doesn't matter if you sing or scream. I feel like all vocalists in rock and roll are like almost like storybook narrators. Especially like you guys after the winter and Melissa too. You have a very like theatrical, I think, performance. That's what I feel like Chris' performance is like theatrical and storytelling. Not all of some metal vocalists are like commanding or like military, but you guys are like more theatrical. I feel like After the Winter's emotional and there's a lot of twists and turns there. If you guys don't know, if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to the band in the chat After the Winter, please go give them a listen, and if not, come to our shows, because we play with them, and look out for shows where we share space on the flyer, because you don't want to miss these guys live. Seriously. That's the next thing. You said my dreadlocks make music. Sometimes they do, and it's not good. That's the one thing I don't like about having dreadlocks, Hans, is if you're on stage, sometimes they can fall onto the guitar and go. It's fucking awful. And like the way my guitar is set up, if you breathe on my guitar, it makes noise. So My guitar is extremely delicate. If I even get a single dreadlock hits a string or brushes past, it's over with for me. And I have a limiter on my amp settings, and still anything that you definitely don't want to shake things up. This is interesting. After the Winter says, originally I've always written about history, other people's stories. Oh man, that's sick. Oh wow. What? I gotta check this out. Now I'm gonna listen all over again. He said in-ear systems. B flat is fine. We could do B flat. You can still hear B flat. It's been a while. I miss you guys too. H is the worst key to ever do an intro. Yes, After the Winter got it. They get it right out the bat. So the melody can cut through. Absolutely. Because Melissa's a clean singer, she has to be the loudest in the mix. So if she's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we really need to be, she has to have something, she has to have an atmosphere to float around up there in. If one of us is out of tune, it's awful. In my early days, that's one of the big reasons why I stopped drinking, is because, I'm a pretty good musician after a couple beers, but after 12, I'm like anybody else. I'm fucking awful. So like for years, me and Melissa would, get on stage and, I'd have a couple. By the time I get on stage, we'd be all out of tuned and it would be all my fault. So years and years after, what really helped is like people's cell phones. Cause I didn't really know. So over the years, people started taking, the cell phones got better. So people could take videos of us. And I started to see how horrible we were on stage and how out of tune I was. And then I learned that my screams were out of tune. I had to relearn how to scream. It was awful. Yeah. That was the beginning of us on stage, is me not being able to listen to the music. It was terrible. And that was one of the, the reasons why, we stopped, of course, Melissa never smoked cigarettes or drank or did shit like that. But like everybody in the band did, I quit smoking cigarettes and all that. Because I'm not a great singer like naturally, but if you take away all the cigarettes and all the bullshit, you know what I mean? I'm a much better support. So I had to do that. And of course, you need your ears. And if you're drinking booze, your ears are shot. At least mine are. My ears are shot. I can't drink booze and be on stage. Because we really need, like with sepsis, we really need it to sound pretty. Like the music's like the guitars are distorted, but we only turn up the distortion barely until it distorts. We're barely a metal band, man. So it's like we turn up the distortion and gain just until it distorts, and then we back the shit off. So it's like we are counting on the instruments to be in tune. Steve said, I have a DJ voice, but can't sing for shit. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. Everybody got their own departments. What are we going to do? If we don't have DJs and tastemakers, we're fucked. Then all we have is Spotify recommending shit. All we have is algorithms. If we don't have DJs, then all we have left is algorithms, and we already have enough of that. Well, After the Winter, you guys deserve it. You guys sound great all the time, bro. You guys got a great sound. And you guys, the thing about After the Winter that I like is you guys play notes. There's notes. There's notes and scales, and I like that. I like that After the Winter has transients and notes. It's nice to have some color, So much heavy metal, modern rock is so produced. It's so computeristic, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of that, right? So that's a cool thing. I'm not downing it. I'm not saying it's less quality. What I'm saying is there is a lot of it, right? It's like trap music. It's like it's cool. There's just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of bands with that sound. It's just nice every now and then to hear some bands take a risk, and I feel like After the Winter is one of those bands. There's some music and some notes and some different things going on there. It's worth it. You guys should definitely check it out. That's the word. It's all like this high. It's just this big, big layered screams, and of course, when you go and see the bands, they don't sound like that. They don't sound like that. And you got to bring a computer on stage. God damn it! And that's fine. But everybody's bringing the computers on stage. Let's talk about it. Why are you even on the stage? Nuno Bettencourt shares his opinion on musicians faking it with backing tracks. He says, quote, "I don't even mind if they don't have background singers. At least you know it's pre-recorded. Where it goes wrong for me is when you fake it." Nuno Bettencourt explained his position on the subject of backing tracks, arguing that he doesn't mind them as long as they're used in a transparent manner and not as a means of faking it. Much has been about the use of backing tracks over the past few years, as the practice became a particularly spicy topic following the whole falling in reverse laptop incident, and claims by some of rock's veterans that some of their peers are relying on the practice to cop out of actually having to do the work on stage. Like most pros, Nuno Bettencourt is of the opinion that having backtracks in moderation is all well and good, especially when they're employed to cover specific elements that aren't a regular feature in the band's work, but nevertheless found their way into a song or two, like a sample or an orchestral, an orchestral hit or something. He told Metal Journal in a recent interview transcribed by Ultimate Guitar, quote, "I think there's a balance there," he's quoted in saying. "I think it's always been okay for me to hear things live that a band cannot do. For instance, it's a 4-piece band, and they're like, you know what? We don't have a keyboard player, but we want to hear some keyboards. I sat down and played Midnight Express with the playback, or Flight of the Bumblebee with a little click track or something like that. I don't mind seeing that." He can't mind seeing that because he's done that. "I don't even mind if they don't have background singers. At least you know it's pre-recorded." However, the guitarist draws a line in the sand when backing tracks are used for faking it. He quoted in saying, "Where it goes wrong," for Nuno Bettencourt, "is when you're faking it. What goes wrong," for Nuno Bettencourt, "is when a singer is faking it, or when I'm playing a guitar and I'm faking my guitar solo. That, to me, is crossing a line. I think there is a balance in this. There's got to be a respect for the audience if they're coming to pay to see you perform. No problem with doing you dabbing sound effects." That must be a misquote, right? "Even guitars. I don't even mind somebody waiting to have rhythm guitars and there's no rhythm guitar player. Go for it." Because at least the audience knows that it's pre-recorded. That's okay to me. But when you're actually pretending, or you're fooling them, or you're faking them, then I think Come on, guys. Why are you even on stage? Why are you charging money for this? Why are you doing it? So the idea of faking something is the part that bothers me. That's what Nuno Betancourt says, everybody. There he is. Nuno Betancourt's one of my favorite guitar players. That's why I decided to share that. There you go. Bringing back the old school metalcore. Fuck yeah. Oh yeah, man. You can leave that open. It's really quite nice. I appreciate you. John says, I am the second vocalist for my band. I can't wait until we are ready to get out and do some shows. Ever seen a dude that looks like he just got back from Grand Funk Railroad show? Do death growls and screams? Well, you will soon. Hans says, there's a whole lot of bands out there with vocalists that just don't sing and they grunt and make nonsense noise. I can't stand it. Well, you know, music is a matter of taste, Hans, and everybody likes something different. I can't tell you the amount of people that we go, especially to metal shows, and they go, oh, it's so disappointing. We wish that you guys would scream more, you know? So that's not true for everybody, Hans. Everybody likes something different. You know, some people... I think my favorite screamers are the ones that you can understand and that are applying technique. But you know what? To each their own, dude. Everyone's going to have, you know, their certain textures and temperature and mood for the day. You know, there's a lot of music that over time I've grown up to like and appreciate that maybe has grown with me, you know, over time, especially like in terms of like a lot of rap music, like corny rap music. I grew up hating corny rap music, you know, and like now rap music's so bad that like I kind of like corny rap music. See what I'm saying? So there's a lot of pop music and country music that I used to think I didn't like, you know, and now I could say for sure, that it's grown on me, and I you know, in comparison to music coming out now, there's a lot of traditional metal that I didn't like growing up that I have a whole new appreciation for. So, you know, everybody likes something different. I love to sing. It's challenging. It's fulfilling. We have one song with no clean singing. Let them eat cake. As soon as we release Adelphos, cake was removed from the list. Oh shit. Damn. Wow. That's something. Oh yeah. You got to check out After the Winter, man. You have to. Now I would start with a little bit of the earlier material and then go right to the newer stuff after that. That's my process. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'll be back tomorrow, and of course every and each weekday as much as I can at 10:30, you know, leading up to the Road to Rockfest and stuff like that. It's going to be difficult for us to come on and do the live streams, but we're going to continue doing them. Expect them. Expect no changes, but if there is a bump in the road or we get on late or we can't make it that day, we'll try to put something up to let everybody know. But I appreciate you. Thank you for After the Winter for stopping by. It's not often that we can get the bands to stop by, but we appreciate you, and we love y'all fellas, and we appreciate the bands when they do get a chance to visit the page. I really do believe that we are absolutely the strongest together. The bands prioritizing the fans and us continuing to make the scene unseen is our mission and our priority. Much love and much respect to you, the musicians, and to all the fans out there. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. John's got some great advice.